Next In.
Hey, this is Wes with Next In. I'm on today with Tim Tello, COO at Pocketful of Quarters. Tim, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for coming on. Tim, I would love for you to just kind of tell a little bit about your company, what led to you starting this company, because you were one of the founders of it, and yeah, what you guys are trying to accomplish.
So I'm not the founder. I'm a founding member. So I think that's important to state. But what we built at Pocketful of Quarters is really the first ever gaming blockchain company. A lot of people don't know about us simply because we haven't listed, and we're getting prepped to list in August. But we helped found Matic Polygon. Janti Kunani was our first developer, the founder of Matic. He came and worked for us and had the idea of Matic because at the time we were solving game fragmentation and with using blockchain. So basically, tokens inside of games, every game has them, right? But none of those tokens share, right? There's 2 million published games in the world. None of them share a token, and that's a problem. Not only for players, but I think for developers as well. And so when Janti was working for us, I basically told him, I was like, look, no one's going to pay 99 cents for their tokens and 99 cents for the gas fee of Ethereum. It doesn't make any sense. And if that's the case, we might as well stop right now. And so then that's when he went off and built the first fork on Ethereum and made the first layer 2 with Polygon. And so we built on Polygon. Right now we're partnered with almost every EVM compatible chain. We're partnered with Near. We're partnered with Algorand, just about every major chain out there. And what we do is we help onboard Web 2 to Web 3. So think of all your free-to-play gaming where the token is now sitting on blockchain instead of on a server. Well, that gives the developers auditability. They can see where a token was minted and where a token was transacted, how it was used, etc. And before blockchain, that was a real problem, and that's why no tokens were shared. Because a lot of people don't realize that developers and publishers don't always make their games. There's revenue shares that have to be split up. There's pieces of the pie that need to go X, Y, and Z. And before the auditability of the blockchain, it just wasn't possible to track that stuff. And so we built this out. We got the first ever SEC no action letter ever given. So we're fully compliant with all regulatory laws by the SEC. That allowed us to get into Apple and Google and Xbox and PlayStation, Steam, Epic. So we can sell our tokens everywhere. Then we went on to write the patent for the use of blockchain in a video game. And so we kind of look at ourselves as like the founders of blockchain gaming. And now, we have a major partnership with Unity, which is the largest video game engine in the world. Hundreds of games that are integrated with Quarters, and hundreds more that are coming. And probably one of the largest eco funds ever, because we have access to every one of our partners' eco funds to write grants for them. So Clayton and Polygon and all those guys, we have access to their funds to help onboard developers and get them grant funding.
Yeah, and Clayton, that's where you were before Pocketful of Quarters, correct?
No, not exactly. So when Clayton is a big Korean blockchain, a lot of people haven't heard about yet. And they were our first partner, but they also hired us as their head of U.S. ambassadorship because they wanted to seed the use of Clayton within the United States. But what a lot of people don't realize is Clayton is owned by Kakao, which is the second largest company in Korea. Behind like Samsung, like they're gigantic, right? And a lot of these blockchain companies don't really have that cash money backer like Clayton does. So they're going to make a strong push, I think, into this gaming metaverse world. They're very similar to a Polygon or an Avalanche, where they can reduce gas fees down to fractionalized cents, but their transaction speeds are pretty high. As they keep evolving and add things like ZK rollups, they're going to be a force that I think is going to come out of nowhere. At least in the United States, a lot of people don't know them here, and once they get here, it's going to be big.
So for you, Tim, where did your interest in blockchain start? Like, how did you get there? Right, I've heard a friend of mine is a vice president of engineering at Figment.io, and they're an infrastructure as service for blockchain, and he says, I started out as like crypto suspicious, and then I became crypto curious, and then I became crypto convinced, and now he's, that's where he's. Well, how was that journey for you? Like, how did you get into this world of blockchain technologies?
Yeah, by accident, really. So back in like 2012, I was actually hanging out a lot with Ross Ulbricht. who created the Silk Road. He's from here in Austin, and before he went to prison for whatever he did, or I don't want to get too much into that. He used to like trade his Bitcoin for beer, and I had no idea what a Bitcoin even was, right? And then a couple of years later, a friend of mine called me and said, "Hey man, you still got those Bitcoins that Ross gave you? They're worth like thousands of dollars now." I'm like, "What?" And so that was kind of like the ding moment, I guess, that like, hey, this is kind of cool. I was already in the video game industry, but like what really like, the next step I started investing, right? So I started buying up, I got like, I got into like XRP super early. I think I had like 3 cents or something like that. And I sold it like $3. So I was like kind of buying everything before in the 2017 boom, right? I was buying everything before that and I sold everything in the 2017 boom. But along with that also came Fortnite. And so when Fortnite came out, it was the first free-to-play game on console, right?
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I said, I was basically like, look, I think now that there's free-to-play on console, players are going to demand it. They're going to expect all games are free at this point, right? Because once you give something for free, you can never ask for money for it again, right? And once one person does it for free, then they expect everyone else to do it for free as well. And so I was like, well, what if there was a token that could, catalyze these economies and build that out? And so I started looking around and researching who had done it. And I ended up finding Mike and his son, who are the founders, and his son had a similar issue. He was going from Madden to playing Fortnite because all of his friends were playing Fortnite, but he had put all of his lunch money and all of his money into Madden and couldn't move it. And he's like, well, I don't understand why I can't just take it. Like, he didn't understand EA versus Epic are not the same, but he did understand there was a problem of fragmentation within the gaming community. And Mike, as a tech investor who went to Princeton and got his doctorate at Stanford in computer science, went to school with the men from Avalanche, who's a very well savvy computer scientist and tech investor, said, I think blockchain could solve that problem. Let me tell you what blockchain is. Started explaining it to him. And then, that got like Tim Draper involved. So Tim Draper made an investment. Michelle Phan came in, who is the founder of Ipsy. She made an investment. And, then I reached out and said, look, I think you're on the right track. Games are insular. It's very hard to get into the video game industry. I think I can help you as a award-winning BD person in video games and someone who's sold studios to like Xbox. I think I could help you. And I don't like to do anything where I'm not first. So I think with what you're doing, you're on the right track. I can jump in and help you out. And so I brought in guys like Chris Cross, the creator of Medal of Honor. He was head of THQ.
That's awesome.
Him and I had a studio together. I brought in Mark Kaplan, who was the senior vice president of Sony, head of consumer products, gaming, and licensing. And then, my access to basically every studio and executive in the video game world.
Yeah, that's incredible. So how did you, because look, we here at our agency, we really got our start recruiting for gaming studios and we work with tons of them and, everything from VFX artists to gameplay designers, you name it. Well, how did you get into the video game world that eventually led you to blockchain?
By accident again. So I was an oil field consultant here in Texas, and then my wife, who's a big influencer and a model, was like, I want to move to LA. I think I can help my career. She was one of the first social media like managers before like that was a thing, and so she wanted to move to LA, and so she, without telling me, started applying to jobs in LA and ended up getting one. So we ended up moving to LA and I started applying to sales jobs because, as a consultant, that's what I was at my core. And I ended up getting hired by the former vice president of Warner Brothers Gaming, who had just started his own studio. And, he liked me. I ended up being his like right hand. We did a bunch of stuff together, ended up showing him how to do a roll up, which is like the oil field way of making money, right? When others are going down, you start buying. And so I showed him how to do a roll up to buy people on debt. He made a bunch of money when he sent that to the Canadian exchange, gave me a bonus, and then I started my own studio.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so you're definitely a business savvy individual. That is incredible. So from the oil field consulting to video game to blockchain, that's quite an evolution.
I would say I'm still in video games very heavily though, right?
Yeah.
I think I look at myself as the leader in Web3 in the blockchain. I was telling people in blockchain about blockchain in 2017 when every video game person ever said it was stupid, that it would never work. But I was also screaming from a mountaintop in 2014-ish about influencers in video games before Twitch was made, right? Before Justin went on to make Twitch, I was telling everybody that influencers would be the next thing in video games. And me and Chris invented the first ever influencer gaming company where we used influencers as our marketing source. And we would build a game about an influencer and then send it out. So that sprung the Kim Kardashian game, the Guava Juice game, the Gordon Ramsay game, the PewDiePie game. All those were sprung off of the idea of what we were able to accomplish. And so, I've always liked to be first, and then I've always worked with integrity first, right? And so I have a lot of close relationships where I would be the BD consultant, like doing deals with Netflix and connecting them to Tilting Point to do Narcos, etc. And so now that I'm moving over, there's a lot of value in using the blockchain and gaming, and people see that. But I think now that we've got out of the DeFi Wild West, there's a major shift to compliance and safety and regulatory, and we're miles ahead of everybody on that, right? We've gone to the SEC, we've worked directly with them for years to make sure that we are compliant. We got the no action letter. We've gotten into Apple and Google. We're the only people I'm aware of that can sell their token with a credit card. We can sell our crypto and our token, which is hard in both video games and crypto. Right. And we can do both. We're a merchant of service. We can give that to other people. We're a full-fledged one-stop shop to get on blockchain, to get funding, to do, we even have the largest esports platform in the country. So, we work with 500 streamers. We can distribute your game. Our last game, Fall Elder Orbs, was the first ever blockchain game on Steam. It was #1 on Epic for the last 2 weeks. We're putting out AAA titles, and I think it's because we're not using speculation and we're not doing things that gamers don't want to see. We're doing things that are better for gamers, and they don't even know they're using Web3, right? It's all in the back end, so it's just like their free to play game now. It's just their tokens go everywhere. So it's kind of like a Dave and Buster's token or a Chuck E. Cheese token. That one token works in all the games in that store, right? Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, man, for you, you work in the gaming world, but let's say it's Friday evening and you're going to sit down and turn one on. What are you playing?
Probably something old. Final Fantasy, Legend of Dragoon, maybe some Assassin's Creed. I like RPGs mostly. Not too big on first-person shooters. If I have a lot of friends over, I might play a Madden or a FIFA, but for the most part, I'm probably just playing something on PS1 or PS2, just something old school that I don't know. Games today are all the same to me. For the most part, and once you get into video games and you start realizing how many of them are built out of Epic or built on Unreal or built on PlayFab, you start realizing a lot of these games are the exact same game with different animations or different art. Right. And so, look at Madden, for example, or any EA game. They keep coming out with the same games every year, but the core physics and the metrics and the gameplay hasn't changed any. Only thing they've done is added in, they went and acquired Frostbite because it gives better visual appearance to the game. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm a sucker for aesthetics in video games. So if you have a game that's fun, but it looks really, really appealing and really high end, that'll attract me every time. I think you mentioned Assassin's Creed. I think Assassin's Creed's done a good job of being a fun to play game and also being very aesthetic. What's your favorite Assassin's Creed?
Probably Odyssey.
Yeah, I would agree. The amount of historical research that they put into those games is phenomenal.
I'm just a big Greek mythology fan as well.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. That game, if you've never been exposed to Greek mythology and know nothing about the ancient world, that game will literally educate you as you play through it. It's amazing.
It's definitely good. I'm a big fan of that one. We have an NFT project that I created us all based on Greek mythology called Of Gods and Men. That's coming out soon. So I'm a huge sucker for anything Greek mythology.
That's awesome, man. So, going forward at Pocketful Quarters, what's on the horizon for you guys? What are you excited about?
Yeah, so we're getting ready to raise our Series A, which is exciting. Becoming that unicorn status is great, and then just visually, right? The branding is big. I just made a major hire for a new CMO. I stole him from a large publishing company where he was the president of global marketing. I just stole one of the biggest CFOs in the crypto world to come be my CFO. We're about to turn the corner where everyone's going to know our names. I think we've been running very well underground. We're net revenue positive, which is unheard of in cryptocurrency and blockchain. And so we could have listed in 2017 and been like a wax or an engine and running on vapor and hopes and dreams, but we really dug in and made sure that we were doing things right and by the book and what would make sense for games as a whole. We come from games, right? And that's very rare, I think, in the crypto space. So, I'm really excited. We have 65 titles that are on the coming in as of right now. We have a bunch of titles that just released. I think, the future is super bright.
That's awesome, man. So if someone wanted to look at those titles that you've released, where's the best place to go?
So they're not like listed on a list. I do want to create something like that. But if you go to Epic and type in like Fault Elder Orb, you could definitely play Fault. You could go and set up on, I think Take the Throne's also on there. On Apple, we have a game called Stabfish. We have another game called Stream Arenas that's based on a Twitch game. But if you go to our esports platform, poq.gg, there's connections to like almost all of our games. And you can go play with with a bunch of people's favorite streamers, and they'll help you set up and everything like that, and run tournaments with you.
Nice, that's awesome, man. So let's do this. I try to keep these relatively short because I'm a man with a small attention span, and so I want people to be able to soak it in, listen to the whole thing, and not lose their attention. So if you could explain. You've been in sales, right? So let's say a 60-second elevator pitch of the value of what you're doing. What would you say?
It's super simple. We're taking the value of Roblox, which is the fastest growing video game engine in the world, and moving it to the rest of the world. Roblox was able to shift their LTV from $2 to $300 by creating Robux, which is the lifeblood of Roblox, right? One token, all their games. Now, the problem is they're confined to their app and their engine. We're bringing that to the rest of the world. You wouldn't ask a painter to sculpt you, to make you a sculpture, and you wouldn't ask a sculptor to make you a painting. To confine a developer to one engine for the rest of their lives just doesn't make sense. And so we're bringing the value of that and interoperability. So cross-marketing gets better, LTVs get better, retention rates get better, and players are happier because their money goes further.
Awesome. I think that's perfect because before we started the podcast, I was like totally ignorant about what you guys were trying to accomplish, but I think it's incredible. And I think you are really at the forefront of this blockchain and gaming world. It's awesome. Yeah, well, Tim, we'll leave it there, man. And I look forward to talking with you again soon. And I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do. Perfect. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time. Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Hey, have a good day. You too, bud. We'll talk to you. Next day.